Joining us for a Fox Business exclusive, Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison, Republican of Texas. Senator, thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Well, your amendment didn't make it, but let's talk about the doubling up between the two bills. What in particular got you upset with the doubling up on the spending?
I just think that it was time for Congress to show the American people that we were going to be responsible with their tax dollars. And we had plussed up so many accounts in the stimulus bill, and 122 of those accounts are now in this Omnibus Appropriations bill that is going to fund government between now and October 1st, the end of the fiscal year. And it would have been such a great show to America to say, we're going to cut back on the duplication because we know that we're going to have to raise taxes. I mean, I'm not going to support it, but Congress knows that taxes are going up to pay for all this debt that we're incurring. And why not just step back and let the stimulus go forward, let that spending get done, and then we've got another whole appropriations cycle starting October 1. I just thought that was a reasonable thing to do.
Well, you know, let me ask you this. I know that you've talked to Treasury Secretary Geithner, a numbers guy by trade. You would think that he'd be a little concerned about the spending as well. What was that conversation like with him?
Well, I have talked in the committees with both Secretary Geithner and Chairman Bernanke about the problems with all this debt, and aren't they worried about inflation coming on the heels of this recession and higher interest rates, which would put us into another tailspin? And they did not seem concerned about it at all. They were focused on stimulus. Well, the stimulus bill, 20% of the $1 trillion is going to be spent in the next 2 years. The rest of it is in the out years, between 2 and years 10. So 8 years after we have had this recession, we're still going to be spending and increasing our debt. That is a huge concern to me and to many others in the Senate. But I'm afraid that the Obama administration is just with blinders on, not looking at those out years and what we're going to do to get this economy straightened out and the debt brought down.
Well, you know, Senator, your state is going to get about $16 billion of the stimulus package. So, you know, it's hard to argue, I would think, with, okay, this is too much spending, but yet my home state, insert here, is going to get X amount of dollars. So I think that's just, go ahead.
It was just such a lost opportunity to do it right. My state is looking at highway spending mostly, which is very needed and something that would be good all through our country. I thought military construction spending, because we're going to have to do it anyway, would be so positive. But what was a lost opportunity is that the tax cuts are not stimulative, and every economist that I've talked to says that's the real stimulus that you can get. You give people tax cuts in a big enough amount that they feel like they can spend money, which generates the economy. But that has not been done in this bill, and a good part of this stimulus package is little tax cuts, but it's setting the stage for the tax increases down the road.
Senator, do you find that some of the Democrats in the Senate and the House are kind of turning their way of thinking about all the spending? Are you starting to hear alarm bells go off from your colleagues on the other side of the aisle?
I would say yellow flags, not red flags yet, but those yellow warning flags are out. You're seeing Senator Bai write a piece this morning in the Wall Street Journal that he just could not support this omnibus spending bill. And of course, I tried to just cut it back 1%, really. Took $20 billion off out of $409 billion. I couldn't get that passed, but I did get 5 Democratic votes, which is a beginning. I think they're beginning to hear from people that thinking people know that racking up this debt, and it's not all stimulus, where are we going to start being responsible? I think that's what they're hearing from their constituents, and I think some of the thinking Democrats are saying, maybe we better slow down here.
Senator, do you think that the president is taking on too much, too fast?
You know, I believe that what the president should be leading the effort to do is to fix our financial institutions so that credit gets out. That is the best way to start this economy going in the right direction. Instead, he chose stimulus to do, and it's a criticized bill because people see that it's not going to be stimulative and it's going to be too long a period. Instead of doing the whole thing in a focused and strategic way, so that we do the financial institutions and the stimulus and the tax cuts all in one focused effort. And we know what the expenditures are going to be, we know what the debt is, and we know that the revenue would have a better chance to pay that debt down. That's what I think he missed doing. When he talks about this, now stimulus, now health care reform, now we're going to have financial institutions reform, now we're going to have mortgage and housing reform, it seems unfocused and unstrategic, and I think that's where he's missing the boat.
Senator, real quick, do you have any more tricks up your sleeve? I mean, do you have anything else you can bring to the floor now that can try and deal with the overspending we're seeing?
You know, we've tried 3 amendments. We had an amendment that would cut it back to make it a continuing resolution and cut out the excess spending. We had one that would just even us out at 08 spending, and then mine, which was 08 spending plus the inflation rate. All of those failed. Mine got 40 votes. That was the high. And so we don't. We have been turned away at every turn. And even though I think there's dissidence on the Democratic side as well as on the Republican side, I feel like it's going to be rammed through, and I think that's a mistake.
A lot of things happening in Washington. Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison, Republican from Texas, love to have you on Fox Business. Please come again.
Oh, thank you very much, Cheryl.
Thank you, Senator.